listening to Chew the Scene, a talk show where we dish out real conversations with real people about real life. So sit at our buffet and chew with us.
Hey, welcome back to Chew the Scene with Lomo Solo today, but I'm not alone in studio. Danny couldn't be here. Kevin couldn't be here, but I'm very excited. I have Amanda here with me, and it's going to be a little bit of a Mike shit show right now because generally Kevin does all this, so we're just going to see what happens. So Amanda's assisting me today on Facebook Live, so if you have any questions, just feel free. Yeah, there you go. Feel free to ask Amanda. But sitting across from me on the counter, we've been talking about doing this forever, this interview, is Gonzalo Valencia and Michael Campbell.
Hello.
Hey.
And they wrote a musical called Goblins and Gates, and I love it. I'm so happy that it's streaming. And just a little history. I met Gonzo and Michael, oh my gosh, maybe 5 years ago. They came in and did a puppet workshop with my Avenue Q cast because you guys were doing it at Fourth Wall.
That's right.
So it was you guys and Tom Shopper and I think Kate.
Miss Hoover, yeah.
Kate Hoover. And she and you guys worked with my kids, which was amazing. And then Gonzo and I met up again at a birthday party for a mutual friend, and we were sitting together and we were talking, and I was like, you have to come on my show because I love this stuff. So I'm excited to have you here.
Well, we're excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you here. So really quick, I just want to talk about my rejection letter that I got. I'm just like going there. I did. So I applied to be on this podcasting network. I don't want to say which one it was. And they got back to me and they were like, thank you so much, but we're going to pass because we already have a lot of content like this on our network. But then it was a long email. He gave me some advice. He's like, if you'll take my unsolicited advice, which I always will.
Wow, that's nice.
That's cool.
Right? And
better than what we get.
Yeah. Well, right.
Go away.
Go away. So I said, absolutely. And he gave me so many tips on how to strengthen and broaden our reach. And it was some stuff that I've been thinking about for a really long time that I just have kind of been, I don't want to say lazy about it, but like we kind of get, right, as artists, we get excited and then we pull back. So I was like, I kind of needed that little push from the universe to be like, come on. So it was, rejection is redirection. It was definitely a blessing, in disguise. But, when you hear no, it's like, oh, right? And you guys know as artists, I mean, we get a lot of rejection, right, in this business?
Yeah. Just recently we got one February 3rd for the Eugene O'Neill.
Oh, really? Talk a little closer to the mic.
Sorry.
It's okay. Oh, you okay? So, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but that's fine because we typically submit to a lot of different
right.
Organizations and grants and things around this time of the year.
Right.
Or actually earlier. And we just heard back. And we, we'll just put them in a pile and keep on trucking along.
I'm actually rather proud of us because now we're just like, did you get that letter? Yeah, I got that rejection letter. Okay. We got to work today. Okay, fine. We got to work today. So we just go right back to work. So
you do. You have to. You acknowledge. I always say acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. Acknowledge how you're feeling. I always will try and find the silver lining. It sounds so Pollyanna, but it just kind of works for me. And then I'll talk about it with like my husband, we have our sounding boards, and then I move past it. And then it does make you stronger though. Doesn't it? Don't you feel like you walk a little? I feel like I walk a little different after I've been rejected. Like at first when I'm like, and then all of a sudden I pull myself up maybe like a little taller.
I feel like, at least for me, when we first got our couple rejection letters from me when we started doing shows about, started writing together, almost 10 years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. When we first started submitting things, and they weren't great, so I should have expected them to maybe not get
right.
accepted. But even still, those first couple of rejections, you're like, damn, maybe I can't do this, whatever. But now as time goes on, we've been so committed to just working, and we now have our album out.
Yeah.
And we have other plans moving down the pike. So the rejection is just oh, that's all right. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what? It's one person's opinion. Well, I'm excited to have you guys here. So before, I definitely want to talk about the show and the idea for it. But how did you guys meet? I want to know, like, what's the backstory behind Valencia and Campbell, or Campbell and Valencia? I don't want to say it wrong.
Doesn't matter. I'm curious to see how Campbell tells it.
See, this comes on a long period of me not sleeping well, so a lot of this is going to be wrong. I was in school at NJIT for engineering,
right,
with a theater minor, which I went in with that, and I'm so grateful because I had the opportunity to mess with your mics a little bit.
It's okay. Here we go.
And I was working with their theater department, and I got to know everybody who was involved out there, right. The people at the Rutgers Intercollegiate, and we were doing shows, and I did their first show out there, which was just a straight play. As an actor, I was just acting then. And the guy who came to see the show, who eventually became my mentor and boss, was Bill Guile. Bill Guile, I didn't know any of this at the time, but had been nominated for a Tony for directing many, many years prior.
Lost to Michael Bennett.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to lose.
Yeah, that's exactly, really.
And I worked with him for 4 years. I was at college. He basically, whenever I was in danger of falling out of the honors college there, he would give me an A in theater, and I would be right back in there.
That's great.
So it was like academic probation. No, I'm not on that. No. Academic probation. No. And he sent me out on auditions and pushed me to, because he used to work at Goodspeed, so he sent me to Goodspeed to do auditions, and I was working a lot, and I was working for money, which is something as an engineering student, I was like, am I doing the right thing? Should I change my major to something that's far less profitable and a little bit more fun?
Yeah,
but
the truth.
Around the fourth or so year, Gonzalo showed up. And Bill took to him the same way he took to me, which was that, like, all of a sudden Gonzo was around all the time, doing piano stuff and hanging around in the office and stuff.
And started showing him, like, I started really dabbling into theater writing, and I was like, oh, why don't I just show some of this, because it's very presumptuous of me. Like, my teacher should hear this stuff. Yeah. So I would go to him after hours and, like, show him the work, and he would shred it to pieces and be like, this is why this is not good.
Yeah.
And basically, much like he mentored Michael in acting and things like that, he really kind of showed me, the ropes on, like, writing, because he worked with so many writers. I mean, he worked with Howard Ashman, like, on a show on a bunch of things, and he had, like, tapes and CDs of, like, weird things that you'll never find anywhere, not even in, like, libraries. They're, like, demo tapes that were given to him by, like, Howard and all these other people.
I heard The Visit years before it actually showed up on Broadway, because he happened to sneak in when it first came out with Cheetah Rivera, like, way back then. Yeah. He snuck in with a tape recorder and then transferred it to a CD with one of his students or something.
Tape recorder? What's that? Do you know what that is, Amanda?
No.
One of those talk boys from Home Alone.
I have my Walkman, but yeah, I mean, that's because I was reading your bios and I was like, wow, this is, like, so incredible. And you're both so humble too about, you're not, like, even I was like, don't forget to send me a bio. Like, you're humble about, you're not, like, name dropping, like, left and right, although you probably should. I'm all about name dropping. But so you guys met in college.
Yeah,
that's right.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
That's insane.
And what's really funny is, so at the time while I was in college, the thing that really brought us together as a partnership was we did shows together, we acted in shows together, and that was all fun. And Bill was the connective tissue between us. And, long story short, Bill passed a few years ago. Yeah. But before that happened, I was showing him... no, I need to back up. It was during a rehearsal. This is actually kind of a funny story. I was in a rehearsal. We were in tech. We know how great tech is all the time.
Yep.
Nobody's time is ever wasted in tech. Yeah. So I'm sitting in the audience doing, like, my quantum mechanics homework or something, because... That's what you do at NJIT.
You had time lag.
And I'm trying to do my homework, and Bill came up to me and was, like, talking at me about this idea for a musical that would be great. He read it in a paper. Maybe I'm going to talk about this. I don't really care, because it's not happening.
Yeah.
He said there's a story about this kid who designed an atomic bomb while he was in college in the 70s. And there's this book about it, and... you should read it because it would make a really good musical and we could work on it together, whatever. And I was ignoring him because I'm working on my quantum mechanics homework. But I listen.
Right.
I'm still listening. He thought I wasn't. A week later, I show up to his office and I'm like, I had the book. I read it already. I marked it all up, and I was like, all right, we need to talk about this thing. And I spent like 30 minutes talking at him about all these ideas I had, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of that, instead of giving me feedback, he was like, you were listening to me? I can't even believe you were listening to me.
Multitasking. I love that.
So, in short, then I started working on that. And this was when he was, kind of, getting more and more ill and close to the time that he passed. So I was playing him things over the phone. And I remember explicitly, once I showed him like this draft for this opening number, he was crying. He started crying. And he was like, I just wish I could work on it with you. Oh. He's like, you need to work on this with Campbell. And I was like, Campbell? I'm like, he's not a writer as far as I'm concerned. He's an actor. I mean, he's a great actor. He's great, and choose the scenery like, yeah, just see it happen. But he actually explicitly was like, yeah, you two should work together. Because he's a good, balance to what you are. And I was like, okay. And I didn't know him in that way at the time. Right. And then I shot him a message, just talking to him about this thing and the idea, whatever. And then I recall Campbell telling me what Bill told him, unbeknownst to me, which was...
If Gonzo ever does anything, anywhere, show up and just make yourself useful.
Can I do that? Can I just show up? I'll do anything. I'll make myself useful.
In the background, just dance,
wave.
I'll
do whatever. Yeah. I'll get your coffee. That's cool, though, that he was kind of like...
He was like, you guys need to work together.
He was like, yeah, in the movies, they're like, this person wants to see you, but this person wants to see you, and then you guys meet, and you're like, oh my gosh, that he sensed, he's a connector.
Yeah, he truly was. And then we worked on that for a bit, and we couldn't nail down the rights. And that, we still may, because we're really proud of a lot.
I want that to happen, too. I'm
really
like,
cool show.
I think that's fantastic.
No, it's a really cool show, and to be fair, we had gotten... It's a whole crazy story. I'm not here to talk about that, though, because...
No, we want... No. We want to talk about Goblins and Gates.
But long story short is, I met the guy by accident when I was at Princeton, at their Triangle show they do every year.
Right.
And I met the guy whose this story was about. And he kind of gave us, the informal go-ahead to be like, oh, this is flattering. I can't believe you're writing a musical about me. Keep going. So we did. And then there was a nice back and forth. And he seemed like he wanted it to happen, and we wanted it to happen. But then the lawyers got involved.
Yeah.
And then it kind of became a little bit of a mess.
Can that be the musical? This is the musical. The musical, like you're trying to write a musical. I think they already did that title show, but I'm thinking that's what you do.
Yeah.
Always the lawyers.
So, yeah. So, in the end, we decided it's okay. We'll work on something original for now, and because we don't have the clout that we probably could need to be a little bit more maybe forceful with some of the things we'd like to do with this piece, or whatever. We have more negotiating power. We're like, you know what? Let's do something completely original, something really fun. Mm-hmm. And now we're here doing Goblins and Gates.
So this has been in the works for 10 years. Are you telling me?
No.
No?
Close, because I remember just you were asking me what I was doing and what was going on. This was back at NJIT.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm dreaming of this musical or this show where kids are playing Dungeons and Dragons. How do you feel about that?
I didn't care.
And he absolutely didn't care.
So did you play D&D?
Well, I got my cred right
here. Listen, I wore Star
pin.
Wars. I was a little nerdy. I was like, I'm going to wear my Star Wars shirt.
Yeah,
I brought my dice. I brought everything.
Oh my God, we're getting a picture of us nerding out. I did this on purpose. So yeah, because I used to do the Ren Fair. Years ago. So I was living in that world, and we did vampire role playing and D&D. I mean, I'm not solid on it.
Vampire the Masquerade? Were you playing?
Yes!
There it is. All right.
Did we play together? Maybe we did. Who knows? I don't know. Yes, Vampire the Masquerade.
Nosferatu? What were you? Tremere?
No, I was
go.
she was. I know. She was I can't remember because it's I'm older than you guys, so it's but yeah, I did all that stuff, and cool. I love role playing, and I love those games that are kind of when you're in. You're not really in collusion, but it's like Catan and all these games where you have to sit down, work together, talk to each other, make eye contact, and that's what I love about D&D and nerd culture. Let's face it, we are hip, guys.
Yep,
nerds are hip.
Well,
Sorry,
we've never been more popular.
Not that, but I mean nerd in a good way.
No,
Like PHAT, fat nerds. Yeah. So
Nerds
anyway,
can be proud.
Be
Yeah.
proud, be a nerd. So, did you play D&D?
I did not. So
Okay.
it wasn't. I played a lot of video games and other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I was definitely a gamer, but that was something that was never shown to me. So I
Right.
was kind of this outsider to this idea, and we were working on that other thing. So I was like, not right now.
Yeah.
And then when we started hitting a dead end, I think it was around 2016, right?
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere
Yeah.
around there. With that other show, I was like, just all right, F it, just like send me. All right,
Yeah.
what do we got? And then he showed me his script that he had worked on for a little bit, or like parts of scenes or whatever. And then we started working on, what has become Goblins and Gates. I don't know that the title ever changed. I feel like you always called it that. Right?
I always called it that, yeah. But to give you some perspective, just yesterday I was at his house. I was
Yeah.
working on the show, writing scenes, and he was playing Destiny 2 because his arranger told him to. Because the guy who plays piano for him was like, "We'll get online and play some Destiny."
That's Mr. Barry Spatz.
That's
He's-
right.
He's going to be
Shout
at the opening tonight of West Side Story because he's one of the piano players
Oh,
there.
fantastic! Which is causing quite a stir, but I don't even want to talk about.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
He's hanging out with Steven these days.
Yeah, he's with Stevie
Yes.
today.
That's amazing. Oh, that's so fun. So, okay, so it's a concept album.
Yes.
And actually, I've had Brian Gallagher on, who wrote the concept album of The Brownstone, which I love these concept albums, by the way. The Who, Tommy, The Wall, because what I love about them, and your story included, is I could throw it on, and I'm getting so much visual from your story. So you have a female heroine, right?
That's right.
Your hero is a female. Can you give a little bit insight on why things happen the way they happen without spoiling? Does that make sense?
Well, I think full disclosure, so the concept album exists based on a draft that we wrote for MSU
Okay.
when we did it with students there at Montclair State University. And that was the first real draft of the show, which we wrote very quickly at this point. It probably took us like 6 months to really put that whole thing together.
It wasn't finished when we got the chance to do the MSU show. They were like, finish it, and you better be ready by the time April or something rolls around. And we were like, oh, no.
Okay. So we finished the show, and that show kind of tells the story of our character Wendy, dealing with loss because her father passed. We don't really address that too much, but we figured it didn't matter for that version. We were just trying to show that she used to play this game with her father. It meant a lot to her then, and she's trying to just kind of continue this like legacy by teaching it to her younger brother, who never really got a chance to, play with her dad, and things like that. And then we also touched on other things with issues that other characters had, ranging from all sorts of issues that we see our kids as teachers. We see our kids dealing with issues like on a daily basis. So we'd like to also maybe hit on some of those things that we see with our kids. But generally, it's about a family dealing with loss and a game that helps keep people together.
I love that, though. I do, and it has a great. And this is not meant to sound as like an insult, but I was talking to them a little Percy Jackson, where what I love about the show is that it will appeal to probably middle school, younger kids, but also adults. Because I'll just tell you right now, I love Percy Jackson. And I'm a woman of age, and I've seen it. I listen to the music because it's relatable for me too. And that's what I love about your show is that we all have that inner child in us that that society tells us that we should, well, not so much anymore, but like now you have to be an adult. You're 18. What are you going to do for the rest of your life? Now we're escaping that type of social moray, and people are saying, yeah, I like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I'm 50. I'm not 50, but I'm saying like, an older person. So I love that it taps into an audience that's not just like one or the other. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a children's show, but I could see this either on tour, like touring around. And listen, Percy got a Broadway run. I could see that happen. And I could even like see cool of like when I'm listening, like cool effects happening. Like, do you see that in your head, like when you're writing, or do you
yes.
strictly write? Like, you see like the visuals, right?
I've listened to not only have I played Dungeons and Dragons, but I've listened to people play Dungeons and Dragons. I've gone to big auditoriums and watched people play at tables, and you don't go to just see them sit there and talk to each other. You go them to hear that. To hear it and then internalize it and see that rich visual in your head of people throwing fireballs, people like using axes, cutting off people's heads, seeing fantastic places, big sheer cliffs and big scary tundra. So when I see the show, I see that magical element, that things that we can do with technology now that can really bring a whole lot to the story. People changing shape or form. I saw the Harry Potter show. They're throwing fireballs all over the place on that
love
thing.
It. Yeah, same one. Harry Potter, right? It was written for a certain audience, but we all love it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's things flying around.
Yeah.
They're like the bookcase eats somebody.
Oh my
like,
gosh!
that's like,
Spoiler.
well, I mean, come on.
I know. I mean,
they live. Is that a spoiler too? Jesus, I'm not doing well.
No, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that fantasy an element to it. It's escape, but it's reality. And Dungeons and Dragons is performance.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Literally,
you're
so
not, right?
that's the ultimate thing that drew me to it, right?
Yeah.
Because I since I had no I never played it.
Right.
I was like, well, role playing is theater.
It's theater.
That's what it is. So it's the perfect medium to do this kind of thing, and that's one of the things that definitely. If I remember anything that Bill was saying, it's like, don't ever work on something that shouldn't be a musical, right?
Oh, I love that advice.
Like, just like if the material, don't ever try to make something a musical that shouldn't be a musical,
Right.
And without sounding too rude, like that's what we see a lot of times with commercialized Broadway these days, where they're trying to just produce movies and these adaptations that maybe some of them can make the case that it's like, oh, this is a musical, but a lot of times it's like, why don't you just leave it a movie? Why don't you just do something else with it or whatever? So anyhow, the medium, I was like, this is perfect for this medium.
Oh, I think it is very. It's like a play within a play.
Yeah, exactly.
Within a play.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And we're trying to make sure we don't lose sight of that, and maybe even find ways in our revisions to figure out ways to make the audience feel like they're a part of it too.
Ooh, I love that. Like immersive a little bit.
Possibly, whether it's within, like, before the show, whether it's like lobby intermission stuff or whether it's actually during the show.
Yeah.
We're working kind of through that.
One of the best parts about playing games like that is that you, as a character, have agency, and the things that you do alter the course of the game as it goes.
Right, the story.
So why not give either the audience or the actors that agency to change, not even small things, big things, and let it happen on stage? That already happens on Broadway now. What show is that? With
Edwin Drood, you can pick the ending,
right, sure.
And also even like not that spam a lot, but you pick up someone from the audience and you're bringing them on stage for that one number. I mean, it shifts the energy of the show. I love that idea.
Of inclusive-ness, because that's what the game is about, to bring people in and say, like, you're not, whatever you are, you're not a plumber anymore. You're a this. You're a half-elf lord. Like, what do you say? Yes, this, I bow. Like, that sort of, that, bring them in.
I love all this, and I love the idea of tickling this thing that we all have, within us, because our inner child never really goes away. But you're going to make people start to play. Not that they're not playing it now. There's a game place right up the street from me where people get together in this room and they just play, whatever. But I can see your show bringing an influx, and it also will bring families together. Because that's what these games are for, community, right? You get together on a Friday night, maybe like 10 of you, and you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. You're in community.
Yeah. It's about making time to be with each other.
Yeah.
Physically.
There's a lot of articles out there now. Sly Flourish is one of those guys who plays D&D and has all these articles. And one of his big thing, I think, at the end of the year was, hey, listen, like, play D&D with your family.
Yeah.
Play D&D with your friends. Make the time twice a month. Like, don't negotiate. Like, really do it. And you're going to see that that's going to help you more than quitting smoking. That's going to help you more than than like super high intense therapy. That's going to help you in ways that you can't even understand.
That'll make you quit smoking.
Sure.
Because you're not focusing on the quitting smoking. You're focusing on something, fulfilling something, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, getting the thing that you got because you started smoking because you were missing out on something.
Yeah, this whole concept is just, I'm fascinated by it.
So ultimately, that's why all these reasons are why I decided this is a great idea.
Yeah.
And I'm 100%,
Yeah.
on 100,000% behind it. But then at the same time, while we were doing that first draft and getting into it, I refused to play. I was like...
You want to just listen?
No, I was like...
Play the game.
I refused to play D&D.
Oh, the game. Okay.
As in order to prepare.
Right.
I was like, no, Campbell's enough nerd for the both of us. He's writing the book.
It's not wrong.
So if I'm doing music and lyrics, when songs happen in shows also, they should be honest things that are pushing story forward and are just character driven.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't matter what the topic is. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to know. And so that if you throw me something that's completely confusing, I'm going to be that audience member that's like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. So you need to fix that because that doesn't make any sense to people who don't play this game.
Yeah.
So that's also been really kind of interesting, trying to find that balance of like, because we do want it to appeal to, like you're saying, like young kids, but also as we're talking about reworks for the show, we're thinking about maybe having a grandmother there and like some older characters because we do want it to be for everybody. Multi-generational, and encourage everybody to jump in and have a good time.
Yeah, well, and I think it definitely lends itself to that and we need this. We need this type of theater, music, entertainment right now in our lives. So what's the next step? What's happening next? So what's the next phase?
So
I know because you guys are probably in perpetual rewrites, right? Like always.
This morning.
Yeah.
That's being a writer, right? Just most of it is edits and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. Tonight, for example, I'm retracking a couple things to prepare for the part 2 of the concept album that we're planning on releasing, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Actually, sooner rather than later.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Cheers to you, Michael.
I'm trying to get a move on this thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris Gold for helping with all the engineering, mixing,
That's awesome.
mastering, and stuff like that.
I'm going to start writing scenes and not telling you.
Yeah. Surprise.
New show.
Yeah. So, I'm excited to get that out there because again, and at the end of the day, a concept album is that.
Yeah.
It's just showing people, hey, this is the concept for the show, but like other concept albums, when the show is finally done, like you may not ever see these things ever again. But we thought they had such great energy, and people needed to. I think people need to hear them. That I was like, you know what, this needs to be recorded for all time.
Yeah,
so that people can hear it. And it's the best, sort of sales pitch for the show. It's like you're like, oh, what is that going to be about? Just listen to this thing for a little bit. And
it is so good. So wait, can you give a shout out? Who's on the part 1? Can you give a shout out to the performers who recorded?
Oh my God, there's a lot. So if you go, the best thing to do, I can probably go on my website,
tell us
GonzaloValencia.com, go to the media page, and I make a whole post there about part 1, why it's split up into parts as opposed to an entire thing, because originally I was going to release the entire thing. So I kind of go into why that's the case there. And then there's a full credit breakdown of everybody involved. I guess some of the ones that I should definitely do a shout out to is Barry Spatz, as I said, because he's like an orchestrator / arranger, music director. So he's been there every step of the way. And like I said, Chris Gold, who's basically, single-handedly pushing this thing on the engineering side, which, as you know, is like just the most impossible thing in the world to do.
It is. It's like the recording, it's like good, and now the work starts. Not that that's not, recording's not hard.
For sure.
But it's like the mixing and the mastering is like,
we recorded the album over like almost a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Actually, we recorded, and then we just kept tracking things extra after, and had to get other things and passes, and it's just never ending.
Yeah.
So and it comes down to time and money, obviously. So it's like, how much time and money are you willing to sort of spend, and can you spend? So anyway, so that's definitely been a big thing we've been working on for a long time. We just recently, in June last year, we did a 54 Below show, which was a lot of fun with David Maglione, another really great writer, friend of mine. And we I just want to get this album released, get it out of my life, get it out there for people to check it out.
You want to expel it, and then you want to get it out of your body, the thoughts, the everything, and then I get it.
And I mean, and at the moment, we're submitting this week right now to ASCAP. There's a writer's workshop that Stephen Schwartz is heading. Another thing, the Dramatist Guild Fellows. I mean, there's a lot of NAMT. There were a lot of things that we're submitting for to try to get the thing to the next step. And also, we're in talks with some theaters and some people to just do like a reading or a workshop.
So
definitely before the year's up, we will be doing a workshop.
Can we
somewhere?
Do you guys have one of your phones? Oh, I don't know if you might have an iPhone. I would love to play a little bit, but I don't know if you have one of these doohickeys. Would this work?
Do you have the little adapter?
I do.
In his car. Along with the other things.
That one I actually have here.
But do you have a ring light? I don't think so. In your living room. Yeah, I would love to play like a little smattering.
Sure.
For our listeners, because I freaking love it. And I actually got some DMs from some people that were like, oh my God, I love this record. So hopefully this will work. So this is a little bit of Goblins and Gates. Let's hope that'll work. I love that. It's like just so gorgeous. And I just want to hear a little bit of
the next track.
Yeah. Because the voice is like, who's this singing?
Juliana
Clementi.
She's fantastic.
Every choice. Building a world thought by thought. 5 massive floors, 1 monstrous door, a trap filled with snakes. Sure, you have to work, trusting your inner voice. Knowing success, it can't be bought. You try your best, but sometimes it all falls apart and you're left with what? But I mix potions, I craft dungeons, I do all the work no one ever sees. Every tiny quirk, every kink and jerk that kills you, I made that. I write stories, summon armies, and you'll probably die from the trap you missed. But you won't get pissed, you'll just re-enlist and thank me for my kick-ass game. You spend whole days wondering what they'll do. Your friends, they need to be surprised. You make it fair, you trust the player. That's how you make them care, and that's what you want. You need them to follow I'll murder you. They'll never find the pieces.
You wouldn't do that. Ready?
Almost. Good to go for your refresher? I hope you studied up.
I think so.
Okay. What are these?
Demon Hounds. High attack power, but controlled by,
Whoever.
whoever holds a whistle that summoned them.
Nice save.
I didn't remember because the person controlling them has to be in the same room. There's no human mini there, so the Demon Hounds should disappear.
Excellent point. And what does that tell you?
Maybe the controller is in the room, but they're hiding? Or invisible?
And if that's true, what's the lesson? Jeez. Deej, I didn't mean to say it like that. Have it, you know?
No, it's okay. I want to learn like you learned.
I learned by playing, just jumping in. Neither of us knew. We just made it up as we went.
I can't do that.
Sure you can. You can play with the guys at the next session. I already asked everyone, and they're totally cool with it. If you don't like it, you can jump right out. Whatever happens, I'll be right by your side. I'll let you play as Tybalt the Bard.
Oh, wow! Your character? I need to reread the Bard skill set. Do you have his original character sheet? This is the original? You didn't write this.
Dad did. We made him together. He'd be happy to see you play him. We both would. I mix potions, honor memories. I hold on to what I remember. Every tip and trick, every crazy shtick. I'll always fight and keep on writing stories like you taught me. Filling made-up worlds with amazing things. They'll be well designed, I won't be confined. And I'll bring my friends along to go fight goblins, conquer dungeons, level armies, battle dragons, mixing potions, building everything with my
I love it. I love that song. I love that. I love the dialogue. I mean, it's something that I would hear on Broadway. You know what I mean? Like the dialogue to me.
Dope.
And I love that it is not that they're talking about a parent and not a long lost love. You know, we have so much of that.
Mm-hmm.
That it's something that I think we all can relate to: the loss of a parent, the loss of someone close. But it's not romantic.
No.
It's not. It's, you know. And I love when you talk about the dad and the character sheets and all that. So let me ask you guys a question. How many do you revisit this piece every day? Like a little bit of it every day? Like does this pop into your head every day, the show? You know what I mean? Like, do you work on it? I mean, even if it's like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, or are there times when as an artist, you're like, I just need to walk away, then come back to it?
No, I think it's every day.
Every day for you?
Whether I do work that I'm happy with every day is that's not the case.
Right.
Or substantial work. No, but it's always there.
It's always there?
Every single day, for sure. At least for the last year, 2 years probably.
What about
every single day?
You, Michael? Do you visit it every day? Like a little bit, get an idea, even like jot down a note, or are there times when you're like, and then it just comes to you, and then you're like in this like writing mode?
I'm very bad at writing down notes. I just I'll remember that, and then I don't. But because the material is familiar to me, because I'm in that world all the time, whether it's with D&D or Masks or Capers or some other game that's similar, Mutants and Masterminds or something else. I'm in that community, and those are my people.
Right.
So I'm with the game all the time. So I feel like if I'm with the game, then I'm probably with the show.
Yeah. Just a quick note, what I do is, so I'm writing a web series right now, and I get ideas in my head. As soon as I get an idea, I just voice record it into my phone, because I'm never going to like stop and like, I write stuff down at night.
Into your voice recorder?
I do. I'll be like, I'll say my idea, and then I'll forget about it, and then at night, I'll look at like what I voice recorded or what I took notes on during the day, and I'll try and assemble it into an episode or something. This is just my tip. I don't know.
That sounds. I think we kind of do that with each other.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we mentioned, but
You're
we
each
also
other's voice recorder.
We also work together.
Oh yeah, you guys
We're in the same school.
right.
Yeah, you guys are like.
It's like we can't get away from each
No,
other.
I love that though. I think that's great. So you're each other's own voice recorder.
Yeah. So usually, like, he'll come over, or I'll go over to his room, or he'll come to my room,
Right.
and we'll just say, "Hey, what about this?" And
Yeah.
then we're each other's sounding boards. And if the idea is good, it'll stick. And if
Yeah.
the idea is not, we forget about it, and it doesn't matter.
Which is like, it's like the universe is like, eh.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take that from your mind.
But that's what's been, I think, the challenge and the beauty of the last, I'd say last 6 months, is while we've been working on this concept album, is that it's an original piece.
Yeah.
It's completely original.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, it's based on, like, D&D as a property, sort of, like, but not legally, so.
No, yeah. I mean, it's...
Just trying to get the lawyers off my back.
yeah.
Left
It's a
such a
musical
bad
band.
taste in your mouth working with those people.
No. But my point is it's because the possibilities are endless. It's always very exciting, but also very terrifying because we
Yeah.
can change everything
Yeah.
if we feel like it.
Yeah.
We're not
We have.
but we have, and we're not beholden to sort of anything but like the best idea. So that's what's been, I think, the most frustrating because at a certain point, the case could be made that like basically for any story though, like maybe there's a better way to do something, but
Right.
at the end of the day, the story just needs to be that story, and as long as it's true and honest, and it gets across to people, then that's all we want. So we're hopefully getting there.
You are. Oh my gosh. You totally. I mean, come on. Where can they get the music? Let's tell everyone where can they find this.
So
awesome
thankfully,
music?
by now it should be on everything. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, Napster. Apparently,
Yeah, that's
Wow,
like-
Napster's still around.
got that prime Napster situation.
And whether it's
Wow.
up now or not, God help us all. I think it's going to be on TikTok and Instagram. So like you should be able to search for it, and Goblins and Gates should come up.
On TikTok.
I like don't.
Hey, listen.
I just know that my students were telling me that.
That's great.
They're just like, "Yo, Mister, when this thing gets on TikTok, I'm making TikToks about it." And
I'm
like,
going to tell my daughter. My dauter's a big TikToker.
And then I was like,
Yeah.
what's a TikTok?
I know.
That's a delightful candy that you'd get in a
Oh
small package.
God, they
I'm like,
are.
sure.
My daughter is a huge TikToker. It's
Yeah.
it's with the kids. So I've done some TikToks with her. I was like, she's like, Mom, do a TikTok with me. I'm like, is this like the challenge? Like, do a TikTok with your mom? Because I'm pretty sure you don't really want me to TikTok with
Mom
you.
talk?
Mom talk. I love that.
Tick mom?
So
I don't know.
I was going to say to you guys, my friend Bill, when I had posted this morning about the show, he said, "Oh my gosh," he said, I've been toying with the idea about doing a Dungeons and Dragons musical. I was like, it looks like they beat me to it. So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you did. I mean,
yes, it is. It is in the copyright office already. It's in the U.S. government.
Actually, I was so terrified because one of the biggest DMs in the game right now, his name is Matthew Mercer. He plays on Critical Role.
Yeah.
I listen to him all the time.
Yeah.
He took a picture with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it's on one of their Twitter feeds. And I
Yeah.
was like, what do I do?
I love you. I love you, Lynn. But step back. Take a
back,
step
Lynn.
back.
Take a
Let
step
me
back,
have
Lynn.
this.
Please.
Do something else, please.
Listen, I love anyone that's like has an idea and is going to and just like I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to do it. I know it's going to be a financial thing. I know it's terrifying when we don't really know what we're not that you don't know what you're doing, but like does any of us ever know what we're doing down here? Not really. We're just kind of like I admire people like that so much because it's hard. It's so easy to get in your comfort zone and just kind of tread along or doggy paddle, but you guys are like, no, we have this idea. The story needs to be told. I love it. I can tell you I'm a big fan. I will wear the shirts.
Yeah, we got to get on that.
I'll
We gotta
probably
get on
make
the
it a
merch.
muscle tee, but that's fine.
I have actually a shirt for Goblins and Gates. Guess where it is?
Where? In your car.
It's in my car, yeah.
I will rock that shirt. I will wear a shirt. I am like...
Yeah, we'll work on the merch maybe for the second
Get me a
part of the
pin.
album.
I collect pins, so I'm like do you have like a goblin?
D&D pin?
I have a pin. I'll put a pin on my thing. No, I seriously love it. So, all right. So you guys are obviously you guys do theater. You're both wonderful singers, musicians, actors. What do you do that's not like Dungeons and Dragons? Like, what do you do that's totally that would like blow someone's mind? Like guilty pleasure.
I
Like, what do you
hike a
watch on
lot.
TV? What you what?
I hike a lot.
You do hike. You
Yeah.
hike with our friend Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Yes, I see that. Anything like that you want to like guilty pleasure? Like, what do you watch on TV?
Oh.
Like, what's something you watch and you're like, leave me alone, let me live my life. I watch Flavor of Love, come on.
Wow. That's
a throwback.
You shouldn't go putting that out in the universe.
I think at this point my guilty pleasures have transitioned. I feel so not normal to YouTube because I like watch weirdo creators on YouTube. I watch this guy Ryu Car. I watch him play Super Mario Maker. I watch somebody play a game that I own.
Are you
that
like,
I could play?
Are you like my children?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what my children do. They watch like people playing. It's like
So for sure, I'm just like leave me alone. I'm gonna watch this because he's funny and it's silly and
it makes you happy.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
No, that's it. Like I play,
That's
it. Every
Pop-Tarts are his guilty
Pop-Tarts,
pleasure.
oh my god, I've such one of the things that I really enjoy is like eating chocolate. So I'll go to a chocolate bar that's just for chocolate and be like, this tastes like they're from this particular country. Is that so? And they're like, well, how do you know that? Why do all you eat is chocolate? And the answer to that question is a hard yes.
Yes, a hard dark chocolate or milk chocolate, or all the chocolate.
I feel like you're splitting hairs here. It's all chocolate and it's all delicious.
It's all chocolate.
This is why we need to finish the show quickly before something terrible happens to his health.
Diabetes.
Amanda. So Amanda has joined me today on. I'm so glad that you're here today, Amanda. We're kind of like trying out this new thing. Amanda's amazing. She keeps me on point. She keeps me organized. I love her. Do you have any questions that you want to ask?
You're crushing it, by the way.
She's amazing. She's sitting with my phone. We're going to figure out a better way to do stuff. But I was like, come. Do you have anything you want to like?
I don't.
She don't. So
this is very outside of my realm.
So Amanda's really new to the theater world. I met her in the fall when she assisted me when I directed Proof, and she's like only
it's my
been doing,
second show ever.
Yeah, she's only been doing like shows for like 7 months.
Wow.
But
Very
she
cool.
is so like on point. She's like Lauren. Like she'll keep me like she really like keeps me in line. So
We're opposite, so
we're
it works out
opposite.
well.
So she was like, "I'll come and hang out with you." I'm like, "Thank you so much." So no questions for you? Nothing that you want to know about? No.
You have to know a little bit in order to have a question.
Yes, but
So.
you're observing.
Yes,
And we're happy
very
that
much.
you're here.
Maybe next
no,
time.
I love this. And so do you want to give out your socials where people can follow you? What are you gone? You're like Gonzo the
just
Great
go, just go GonzaloValencia.com.
And what about you, Michael? Do you have a website?
I'm not really out there.
So you're like, you're not really. I
No.
said to him, I said I was going to tag all the Michael Campbells that I saw on Instagram.
It's,
But you know
Instagram,
what?
I don't
But I
really
believe I'm forcing him to run the Goblins and Gates Instagram.
There's
page.
an Instagram?
Yeah, he just took control of it.
There's a lot of videos of me in a goblin mask going, hello!
I'm going to like
Wow.
that page. Go like that. I'm going to go follow, but you got to follow me back.
Hello,
That's like my
Absolutely.
internet
follow.
trolls.
Follow for a follow. No, guys, this is exciting. And I'll tell you, I was so happy that we were able to, because I know you guys teach, so it was hard. I guess you have off this week, right? For winter
Yeah,
break.
today was.
Yeah.
So it was like
worked out.
so perfect. You just dropped the record, which is awesome. So go check it out. Stream it on iHeartRadio, all the
Everything.
places. All the places, it's there. And I'm excited for part 2. I can't wait to hear what part 2 is about.
It's
Us too.
no.
Well, he knows. He knows, Michael.
Right. Well, yeah.
I know.
Us too.
We're doing rewrites
No,
and
it-
stuff.
it-
No, I know.
It continues more along the same vein. They might touch on a little bit more, maybe darker tone, but
Yeah.
ultimately very lighthearted and fun in the end.
Well, good luck to you. Keep me in the loop. Get me a T-shirt. Invite me to all the things. So I'm a big fan. I'm like,
Well, thank you, Rick.
I'm so.
You're gonna be getting the game with us. You're gonna play D&D with us.
Yeah,
I
we
would
should
play. I would play.
We'll get Joe.
Oh my god! I would honestly, I would do that one night.
The problem is that Joe's he's gonna text us later and he's gonna be like, "I heard you wanted to play."
yeah, and he's like, for real. I would play. I haven't done it in a while though, so my brain is a little bit. But oh god, those were great years of my life, though. I have to tell you, great memories, great people. I just kind of lost touch with it because I stopped doing the Ren Fair and like just life took over. But
sure.
I think about it and I just smile because it's so much fun just to be in a moment, enjoy that moment, not overthink, and just get to play.
I just want to warn you.
I wasn't
though,
sure if you're describing D&D or theater.
right
Or both.
That's-
I know. Yeah, you
I
really.
played
Yes.
Catan with this guy, and he tackled me out of my chair
Oh, really?
because I played a card he didn't like.
Oh.
And he warned me, if
But
you
I
play that
warned
card, I
him.
will come over there and get you.
So are
He
you
knew.
competitive? You're competitive.
No.
He's like, no.
Stop. Wait a minute. I've seen you play Catan with your students.
It's probably true. Yeah, no. Sure.
I love it. I love it. No, I think
No,
this
he's
is
competitive even when the game is cooperative.
Yeah.
If we're playing Donkey Kong Country, he's like, "Why are you dying every minute? Get out of that pit."
You're like, I can't help it.
He's mean. He's mean to me.
But you guys have a good friendship.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
definitely I could see your name in lights. So wait, you don't? Does it matter whose name goes first? I'm not trying to cause a problem here.
No,
I'm just wondering. Valencia, Campbell, Valencia.
we
I
don't
don't know. Maybe
Maybe we'll hashtag you. Like you could be like, I don't know. We'll have to find a hashtag.
People can vote.
Yeah, they'll just vote.
Campbell Valencia
Yeah,
or
vote.
Hashtag Valencia and Campbell and see which one.
Yes,
Whatever.
let's vote on that. Let's vote on
My
that.
mother will make a Twitter so she can vote for it.
She's gonna be like, Michael.
Michael, how do I vote for your thing? She does not sound even remotely like that.
I don't
That's
even know what she
voice.
sounds like, so don't even ask me what that voice was.
How crazy would it be if we just changed it for every show that we did, just to piss people off?
Yes. You're gonna rebrand. You're gonna brand and then rebrand every show.
Yeah, it'll be
Campbell
Rogers,
and Valencia?
Hammerstein,
No.
Rogers.
Rogers.
Who cares?
That was a Valencia and Campbell.
Does not matter. No, so definitely keep us posted. I'm psyched. I can't wait for part 2. How many? Wait, but I know I keep saying we're done. How many songs are gonna be on part 2?
9. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not counting the ones that we will cut into parts.
And what's funny is that no. Actually, what's funny is that part 1. Read what I wrote on my website about why I broke it up into 2 parts. But part 1 is really only 4 songs. But
Yeah.
one of the songs is 10 minutes long because it's a basically scene, song, and the other one is 2 parts. So it comes out to like 8 tracks or something
Right.
like that. The new one though is likely I think it's like 9 tracks, but it's like I think they're all songs.
That's so cool. No, I love that.
Individual. They're not multi-parts. So they're all separate tracks, I think.
That's so fantastic. Well, good luck, you guys, and I'm so glad we did this. And we're gonna do a picture because we're all wearing our shirts. We all we're thinking today, and these poor guys.
Yeah,
they're
you're
doing
part of the. That's not the Empire. Is it?
no.
That's the new.
The dark side.
The First Order.
Yeah, the First Order. My son bought this for me because we always like the bad guys, the proverbial bad guys, and I only always come from an actor standpoint that I love. First of all, I always play the bad guy or the antagonist.
Yep.
And those characters are so much fun because they're so opposite of reality. So my older guy bought this for me for Christmas one year, but I did make it into a muscle tee. So if you give me a t-shirt, chances are it's going to be a muscle tee.
Sleeves are bullcrap. Yeah.
So yeah, fuck sleeves. But thank you, Gonzalo, Valencia, Michael Campbell. Thank you, Amanda, for running the camera today.
Hey, Amanda.
We'll be back next week. We have a double interview, and they just kind of came at me, so I will post in the comments who they are. Because sometimes in the morning I'm answering emails, yes, this time, and then I get all the details from the PR. But you guys are amazing. Go follow Goblins and Gates. Go follow these guys. Go support them. We need new stuff. We need new stuff because it's like, we're making movies and making them into musicals, and then we're making them into musical movies. It's
Yeah,
like this
isn't that
weird.
crazy?
It's like weird, right?
It's a little strange.
It's a little bizarre. I mean, hey, I'm happy to see people working, but let's get some new stuff.
Sure.
So thank you for having
Not cats, though.
What? Not cats.
Stop it.
I mean, I like
thought
cats.
we'd make it through the whole interview.
I haven't seen it, so should I not?
If you want to have a good time, get a couple drinks and
Couple
go in there
Tito's?
and watch.
I'll watch it on Kodai.
Yeah, do
with a
that.
couple
I
drinks.
don't want people to at me, so I'm gonna not talk about cats.
It's
I
funny.
know.
It's funny. It's funny. I went there with a couple of friends and we thought it was hilarious. So
And it's
was
like
worth the money.
It came in. It was worth it because you had fun.
yeah, that was the experience.
That's
Go with your
it.
community, just like we say with D&D. Go with your community and go
You
with
had fun. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week with Danny and Kevin. This was awesome, and we'll see you later.
Thank
Peace
you.
out. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Because jellicles do.